Got an 09 F-350 with a 6.4 liter. Customer says it's run and stall. It started up and it stall again, and I can't get it to run at all. It just cranks over. Batteries are about dead, so put a battery charger on it, and let's see what we got. I just tried to crank it in the parking lot. It wouldn't crank, and I've just ID'd the vehicle. Let's pick up right there. Let's just check it for codes before we go too far along. Maybe it's something simple like a fuel pump. Something silly like that. We can only hope. Let's see what she's got for mileage here. Looks like 112,000. CP too low. It's got some bigger wheels and tires on it, so that's probably from that. Fuel pump secondary circuit high. Be too low. Alright, let's go up here to data logger. Powertrain, engine. Figure all that out. And let's get our fuel pump, fuel level. Let's see what we got here. So we got a pretty full tank. Let's put a fuel bleeder tool on it and turn the pump on and see what happens. If we were getting a fuel pump code, I doubt the fuel pump is coming on. There's power to it, or it's working, whatever. But even if that's the case, we're still going to need this to get it running if we do fix it. So we'll just see what happens. Let's turn the old girl on. Pound sign. Gotta highlight it first. Hit the pound sign, the finger sign, and then the plus sign. Pump is on. Now let's see if we're getting fuel out. We've got nada, nothing flowing. So, real quickly, before we crawl under and check power to the fuel pump, just make sure the inertia trip's not switched. We'll make sure the inertia switch is not tripped. Find it. Alright, we're not tripped. So let's crawl under it and check for power at the pump. So I've taken a set of jumper wires, I've unplugged the pump, put 2 wires across the pump, and I've got those straight, so my test lights basically looked right across the 2 leads going to the fuel pump. We're going to turn the pump on again. So there's on. Air's off. All right, so we've either got a restriction, no fuel coming to the pump, or the pump is just kaput. In this case, turn the pump on, it doesn't hum or anything, so the pump's not good. So we got to put a pump in it before we can go any further. So let's go get a price on a pump and see what the customer wants to do. Got the approval to do this job, so let's have a look at our parts. I'm gonna put fuel filters in it. I wish you could get just this top filter, because our pump comes with a bottom filter already installed, so we end up with a spare. We're going to put the top filter in it. And then this is our pump. Part number. Got some nice caps. This is complete assembly. Comes with everything: cap, filter, pump, water and fuel level water and fuel sensor, the drain, mounting bracket. Now you can get just the pump, but these things have a horrible track record. So the pump's right here. It's bolted in, and it actually slides into the filter. So if this were the bottom filter, the pump would actually slide into inside of this. But these things, they're real bad about gumming up, and they'll just fill up with crud, and then this will leak. So you end up pretty much rebuilding this whole thing just to do the job correctly. Or you can just put this whole unit. Now let's say this unit was brand new and they just had to put it on, and all they needed was a pump failed. Then might be inclined to just put a pump in. For some reason, if it weren't under warranty. So let's have a look at what the pump looks like. I just happen to have one laying right here. This is one off of our wildlife truck. Making too much of a mess. We just got 3 bolts to hold it on. This is what I was talking about the other day. So I would, if this were going in a garbage can, I would cut these off, and then I would have these nice little quick connects to hook to hoses, to hooks and stuff. So this is the actual pump. Diesel everywhere. That's it. So if you just needed a frame rail pump, you could probably get these aftermarket. They're kind of hard to get from Ford. Ford wants to sell you the whole thing, but I'm sure you could get a Dorman or something like that. And just 3 bolts, you pop it out. And then down inside that cavity, that's the fuel filter down in there. It screws in from this side. So let's let's crawl under the truck and put the filter in, the fuel pump in it. We're going to hook a gauge to it to make sure that we don't have you know, restriction on the system that may have caused this pump to fail from, you know, something in the tank or something like that. And we'll change the upper filter, clear the codes, take a ride, see how it runs. Got this drive shaft in the way. This thing's four-wheel drive, so I'm gonna have to turn and manipulate this thing to get it out of here. So I'm just gonna take the caps that came on the new one, and I'll cap all this off so I don't take a bath, because I'm laying on my back on a creeper. This isn't the first time this has been worked on, because we got a nice shiny new water drain, and the wiring harness for the pump is not routed correctly. It's loose. It can get right into the drive shaft. This little white Christmas tree goes in there, and the hard shell connector clips right there. Keep it out of harm's way. So right now I just lay that right on the drive shaft. So we got to reroute that, and let's go ahead and pop this thing out of here. So you know I have a great view, but you do have a view. First thing I'm going to do is take the bolts out and hold it in. The lines are kind of hard to manipulate. If I take the pump loose, I can manipulate the pump instead of the lines. Three bolts on the outside here. Three nuts, bolts, nuts, hardware. Some people are sticklers for calling things the right thing. So now we're loose, so I'm going to take the harness out of here, just keep from getting doused in fuel. Since it's already so loose, and that way we can reroute it when we get done. That's the harness. We'll put it back where it goes. The fun part of making a mess. Alright, so these are quick releases. I call them slow releases, because they don't release so quickly all the time. But you can still use these. These are a squeeze. You just squeeze them and they release. But a lot of times they'll get dirt in them and it won't work. But you can still use these. And that'll just slide into the line. And do the exact same thing as squeezing it from the outside. It'll just release it from the inside. Now this side's going to make the mess because it is draining back from the engine, and we've already released the pressure on the tank. Just took the cap off, or the vacuum. There's always a little bit of vacuum on the tank, so we'll let this drain for a little bit. Just going to splash. Be a lot of splashing. Just going to run down the drive shaft and just generally make a complete mess. But luckily, brake cleaner makes short work of diesel fuel. Diesel fuel is pretty easy to clean up, even soapy water. So you can see how stiff this line is. Oh, it's going to be aggravating to manipulate. Just bouncing off the drive shaft. I want to keep it clean. I don't want anything falling into this line because then it's a straight shot to the engine filter. I'm trying to keep this thing from I don't want to damage the fuel system. So I'm going to plug that off. Keep that from leaking anymore. Take the top one loose, so you always do the bottom one first. So if we took the top one loose first, then we'd take a bath. I'll try and undo the bottom one if we took the top one loose first. So now we don't have to worry about it. I didn't want to do that, but I did. Luckily that one squeezed pretty easily, so it just released the squeeze tabs. So I just drop my release into the bucket. Take that one loose. Cap it off. Now we got the other side to do. Cap it, and we can take it out. Got to work it around the drive shaft here, and we're free and clear. Alright, it is so aggravating and difficult to get under here with a gauge. We're going to get the pump on, get it running, move over to the lift over there, and then we'll check our restriction on our pump. Do an extra good job for our customers. So this will get brake cleaned off, but not while you guys are under here because it's really windy out. And you guys will get doused with brake cleaner, which is no good. It's bad for your eyes. Brake cleaner causes cancer and cures cancer, all in the same spritz. Pretty amazing stuff. So now I'm just going to bolt this thing back down. And with that, make sure the lines are connected. That one's connected. That one's connected. this, plug into there. The last thing I gotta do is put the drive shaft back in. So we got the pump all in. I'm talking to the camera. We got the harness routed. And the last thing we gotta do is put the drive shaft in, because this thing was towed with the back wheels on the ground for the wheel lift. But it's in park up there, so we need to be able to turn the drive shaft. So I'm just gonna simply pop this off. And kick it up into neutral. Or, you know, even reverse, it doesn't matter, as long as it's not in park. And then we could turn the drive shaft so we can hook it back to the rear end. How does that? Go back up here, hook back up, shifter linkage, which you definitely cannot see. There we go. Alright, let's put the upper filter in it and see if it'll start. Hopefully we can start this thing up just by bleeding this low pressure system at this Schrader valve. I really don't want to have to hook up the other tool. Maybe we'll get lucky. Notice this thing has an aftermarket oil filter cap. It's larger. Complete junk. I do not recommend those at all. Recommend only Motorcraft. Alright, I want to make sure there's no crusties down in here. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Before I put the new filter in, and I replaced the ring and put a filter in the cap, I just spritz a little penetrating light lube, WD-40, whatever you want to use. Yeah, diesel fuel, engine oil, on there and there, so this thing will go together somewhat easy. The ring won't bite down so badly. Wipe it down so we'll know if we got any leaks when we start it back up. Now, I'm going to hook the scan tool. I'm going to leave you guys where you're at. Hook the scan tool up. And we're going to revisit. This. So let me hook the scan tool up. I'll be right back. We don't need a scan tool to bleed this system. Every time you turn the key on and don't start the engine, the fuel pump will run for 30 seconds. But I don't want to keep cycling the key back and forth, and I got to clear codes anyway. So I've hooked the scan tool up, I've commanded the pump on. Let's see what we get. You see our bubbles rolling through here. See quite a few bubbles going through there. Looking good so far. So we're gonna let that run for a little bit. Make sure we're getting all the air out of here. All those have got to go. Can't have those in there. See them working their way through. Don't get in no hurry, that's for sure. It's nice and dry. Oops. Starting to make a mess. One-handed here. Get a rag and wipe that off. Alright, let's get her bled out about as good as we're going to get with that little hose. Let's see if she'll start. Turn this pump off. Let's see what we got here. Let's take a look at a little data while we're doing this. Kind of like we did with the Smoky 6 liter. Nice focus. Let's take a look at our fuel rail pressure. So fuel rail pressure and fuel rail pressure desired. Alright. We got 126 pounds, so let's see if that starts climbing. There we go. 5,000. Perfect. Until he gets off that lift over there, and we'll bring this around, go on that lift, and check our inlet restriction. This is the gauge set we're going to use. Check our vacuum. This gauge reads vacuum and pressure, and you use any gauge. It doesn't have to be this, just whatever you can rig up. And we got to tap into the line, and in this case I've got multiple. Now, if you don't have a fancy, we got to figure out what size it is. If you don't have a fancy measuring device, you got a set of wrenches, you can use them to measure. So we needed the fitting to fit this guy. And I already know it's a 1/2 inch, but if I just take a 1/2 inch wrench and lay it over it, it fits. And that does not, because that's 3/8. So half, no good. It's kind of like a go, no-go gauge. And then if we were to look, you know, eyeballing it, it's obviously way too small. That's no good. But that one, it's black, it's hard to see. That one is just right. So that's our guy. These have numbers on them, but the numbers don't correspond because this is actually for a 6.7 liter diesel. But we're going to use it on our 6.4. Now, you rarely find anybody doing this test, and there's a reason for that. It's a mess. It's the first job of this morning, and I took a diesel bath. Look at this gauge setup. It just splashes and splatters off everything. It goes all over the floor, and it's impossible to catch all the friggin' fluid. And then I got to undo it and take another bath when I get done after I drive it. So let's go for a ride and see what we got. I think I got this thing routed out of harm's way. Got a zip tied to a brake line coming through that little hole there. So, and I've got her sitting on a little fender cover thingy. Looking good so far. We are running 0 inches. The ideal way to do this test is wide open throttle, full load. Just doing it in the bay, not really going to do you any good. As much effort as it took to put this thing on here, least we can do is go for a ride. Beautiful morning. Let's go this ridge for maybe 2 inches. Take it out here on the highway and really romp down on it. Carry a lot of speed on these roads. This road goes back to the interstate, I-95. But if you go the other way, it takes you right to the ocean. So we are heading away from the ocean. Right there is the I think they make dishwashers there. A little local asphalt plant, West Pharmaceutical plant. Takes us back to the airport. K-Town International. Alright, let's see what we got here. Let me get around this curve. I don't know who designed this road, but this curve is wicked tight. It's like you have to steer pretty hard. You're gradual, and then you got to really crank the wheel right in here. Spill your beer. You're driving there. way. Let's romp down on it. So reading. I got some traffic coming up on me. I'll let these guys go by so I don't blow their doors. This thing will really wake up when you go at the throttle. Of course, this idiot just passed me and he's riding the brakes, which makes no sense. So we're gonna pull over. Either he's 2-footing it or his brake lights are stuck on. What a hammerhead. Weaving all over. It's gotta be texting. Texting and driving. Alright, we'll let this other car get by. And we'll romp down on her. So that's like, I don't know, 1 inch of mercury. We're good, well in spec. They give you 6 inches of mercury max. That's a pretty good vacuum. And we might have hit 3, take it back down to 2. So we can give this back to the customer with confidence that they're ready to rock and roll. This guy's getting ready to go to a fishing tournament or something. He needs his truck back to haul his boat, so he was pretty concerned when it wouldn't start on him. So he'll be happy. Get it back to him and move on to the next project. So this road is just a big loop. It's a test drive I'll do. You know, you can go through a few red lights and then get out on the open highway. It's a good OBD2 test drive. It just loops back around to the back road to the dealership. Carolina ice making plant. They I think they run 3 shifts. I don't think they can keep up with the demand. I think they are always on back order for ice. All right, we're gonna call it. I'm gonna run back to the shop. Going to take this apparatus back off here and make a friggin' mess. I got diesel on my shirt. Try not to get it on the seat belt. And good to go. Appreciate you guys tuning in.